This is I Dare You with me, Francesca Escoto, your host, where professional women over 40 get the courage to embark on a new adventure. Hi, I'm Francesca Escoto, host of I Dare You podcast. And I started this podcast because I want to be part of the conversation about how women redefine and re-engage in life after they have finished mothering and after they have reached a certain point in their lives when they are more confident, more professionally prepared for the next thing. I want us to make sure that we're maximizing everything that we have learned in our life journey so far and turning that into a new adventure. So, thank you for being here. This is our inaugural podcast, our first episode, and I'll take a little bit of time to tell you my story, how we got to this point, and what you can expect from this podcast. So I am an immigrant. I came from the Dominican Republic when I was very young with my family. I have been in the US probably much longer, actually much longer, 3 times as long as I was in the Dominican Republic. And so I am of that kind of split identity. I am American, I am Dominican, and I am a subculture. I am neither one and I am both. I'm fully bilingual. Some people call it bicultural as well. I can navigate both worlds. And that has given me a certain perspective, not only on culture itself, but the role of women and how women progress and age through their lives. I can kind of tell you how that happens in different parts of the world. And I also have had to develop my own sense of womanhood and femininity and success because I came from 2 different worlds that had different definitions for those things. So that's a little bit of where I come from. Arriving in the United States gave me so much freedom, so much of a perspective of what was possible. It removed any kind of barrier that I had. I went on to study engineering and started or launched a career as an engineer. But I quickly decided entrepreneurship was my thing. It's maybe cultural, but it's also in my DNA. I come from a family of entrepreneurs who did cottage businesses. They worked from home and did either seamstressing. My grandfather was a shoemaker. Actually, all my grandmothers and great grandmothers were seamstresses. And you can see some of that reflected in my art. This is one of my pieces behind me here. But I do consider myself a serial entrepreneur. My first venture was building software to track the performance of aircraft engines. And that was very much based on my engineering background, my software background. But I have done it all. I was your Mary Kay lady. I represented a different line of products at another time, a company called Warm Spirit. I have started nonprofits. I have been on advisory boards. I'm currently on board of directors for organizations. But in the process of all that, I decided to be a stay-at-home mom with my 3 daughters. And I did that for 10 years. And during that time, I became certified as a professional coach. I started consulting for nonprofits and for small startups. And I developed a really clear understanding, not only of what I wanted to do with my career and how I was going to move forward in the world, but also an understanding of the systems that are necessary in order to launch a new venture. So from product design, since I've been involved in product development as an engineer, and from a business side, understanding operations and what it takes to build a business that can scale and grow over time. I have come to this point in my life with a very, what I find interesting and adventurous approach to building my career. I am one of those people who has multiple career paths. I do nonprofit work. I'm chief operations officer for a nonprofit. I also managing software implementations for government agencies. And in the middle of that is my artist career, which has just launched. I am in kind of reinventing my brand and growing in new ways. And I figured I'm not the only person. I need to create community for myself, but also for all those women out there who don't fit a mold, who arrived into their 40s and beyond with a renewed sense of ownership and embodiment of all the journeys that we have taken through our lives so far, and not wanting to be one thing or the other, but rather it's that time when you can get to be all. Um, when I stayed home with my kids, it was great. It was hard. It was probably the hardest thing I have done in my whole life because my brain is always going and I'm always creating something or trying to launch something. But it was also the time when I really got to know myself and journey inward and understand my priorities, my values, one, so I could pass them on to my children, but also so I could live them out and model them for these three young, beautiful women that were looking at me as a role model. So, and I took some notes so I don't forget all the things I want to share with you. It just dawned on me how obsessed society is with female bodies and with our image and the way we show up in the world in a physical sense, and how media, perhaps, I don't know, the social structures that be don't always value female intellect. I feel confident about my intellectual abilities, and I have always wanted to make contributions that were more enduring than a pretty smile or, the boobs, the butt, the whatever. I wanted to be more than that, and I have come to the conclusion that I am, and I remind my daughters that they are too. And then we hit middle age, and a whole new set of stereotypes and expectations set in as well. The middle-aged woman, I'm not sure what that is supposed to be or what it's supposed to look like. What is it, that 50 is the new 30, or 50 is the new, I don't know, 40. Or maybe it's that we have increased our health. We do better at managing home life and work life. We have grown as women and have thriving careers that endure way past our child rearing years. And so we find ourselves in this moment in time carving new paths and doing things that maybe women, at least in my family, haven't done before, or things that we haven't seen many women achieve. So, at this point in my life, I realized we're just starting. The party is just getting good. I feel confident professionally, like I have accomplished, I know my ish. I have something to give, something to share. I feel accomplished socially. I have solid friendships that I've carried through many years. My daughters are growing up beautifully. Two of them are in college. One is finishing high school, and I love who they are, their character, the women they're becoming and being. I have at least 20 more years, God willing, of productive life that I can now give to the world in ways that I couldn't before because my focus was split. And so if you're listening to this and your kids are younger or you haven't started having children, you're like, well, but I kind of like the podcast. Well, join us anyway, because you can learn a lot from us older women. But I can tell you that not being defined anymore by roles and expectations of my commitments to others is very liberating. And it opens up my world to a full new way of being, of managing my time, the kind of goals and dreams that I can pursue more aggressively now because I have more time and more resources to do so. It is the prime time for us women to launch, whatever launch means to you. For me, it's important that women start businesses. It is the number one way of creating wealth and legacy that you can pass on to others, but also that can allow you to sustain yourself through your older years, whatever your plans are for what retirement is going to look like. And so entrepreneurship is really big for me. It's part of my DNA. It's something that has happened in my family forever. And so it's very natural to me. But perhaps for you, it looks different. Maybe you have this dream home you want to build, and it's been a dream, but now you're in a position to actually make it happen. Or maybe you want to move to another country and start a new life in a new culture or whatever, right? Like the adventure is yours to craft, but you don't have to do it alone. You can do it here. You can do it with us. You don't have to start your adventure alone. You can do it here in this community and just hear from other women that can inspire you, that can share thoughts and ideas and lessons learned, or just encouraging stories. Man, sometimes it can feel so daunting or so impossible, or we think it's too late. And if anything, this podcast is all about it's not too late. You can do it. You can start something new, fresh, and invigorating in this season of life. The best is yet to come. That's really the message. And so, what we are going to talk about in this podcast is that we're going to talk about what it's like to dream again, to put that dream into action as soon as possible, and to not do it alone, to be part of community, to hang out with women who are also high achievers, that are dreamers, visionaries, who want to put all of their professional life into something now that is valuable for the world and the community that they serve. So that is me in a nutshell. That is what I Dare You is going to be all about. And I can't wait to share with you some of the upcoming episodes that we have in store for you. Thank you for being part of my own journey in my community and the people that will encourage me. My purpose is to help you thrive. And so you thriving and you being here is fulfilling me. So thank you in advance for being part of I Dare You and the daring community. I will see you in the next episode.